afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is February 7th, 2012. This is Texan TV News, a product of the Texan TV News service. I am Meagan Lofton. In today's headlines, the United States has closed its Syrian embassy. A federal judge orders the return of a 16th century painting. A new study finds almost 1 in 5 Texans are poor. Puppy Bowl player gets a new home. Officer Christy Bent shares information on Tarleton's rape aggression defense classes. With sports and weather. Now today's top story. In international news, the Associated Press reports that the United States closed the Syrian embassy Monday, and Britain has brought home its ambassador to Damascus in an effort to encourage Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to leave office. President Obama said in an interview on NBC, "We have been relentless in sending a message that it is time for Assad to British Foreign Secretary William Hague said this is a doomed regime as well as a murdering regime. There is no way it can recover its credibility internationally. Violence in the area is due to civil unrest. Citizens are speaking out against the government. Approximately 200 people have died since Saturday when the latest skirmish began. Government supporters were said to have used tanks and machine guns when a temporary medical facility and some homes were restored. It was the third day of such fighting. In national news, the Associated Press reports that a federal judge has ordered the return of a 16th century Baroque painting depicting Christ carrying the cross to the hires of a Jewish man who died shortly before the German occupation of France in World War II. U.S. Judge Robert Hinkle on Monday ordered the return of the work, Christ carrying the cross dragged by a roge, to the descendants of Federico Genitelli de Giuseppe. U.S. authorities seized the Italian painting last November from a Florida museum that was loaned by the famed Pinacote de Brera Museum in Milan. The painting of Girolamo Romano is believed to date about 1538 and was purchased by Giuseppe in 1914. The work is believed to have been among more than 70 paintings from Giuseppe's collection, auctioned by the French Vichy government in 1941 in order to pay off debts. Members of Giuseppe's Jewish family who fled the country because of the Nazi occupation have said the sale was illegal and had sought the painting's return. In Texas news, the Associated Press reports that while Texas politicians like to tout the state's economic growth, more and more Texans are finding themselves on the edge of poverty. Compared to the rest of the country, Texas ranks 41st in financial security, meaning that even if Texas survived the last economic storm, the onset of another one would swamp them. Texas has weathered the Great Recession better than most states, but a study of the Corporation of Enterprise Development found that almost 28% of Texas households have no financial cushion for emergencies. The findings match the latest U.S. Census data on Texas. These findings show that almost 18%, or around 4 million people, live below the poverty line. So what role should the state government play in helping people escape poverty? Bill Peacock, Vice President for the Texas Public Policy Foundation, says that more budget cuts are the answer. The government is too inefficient to make a difference, and conservatives believe that less government spending leads to greater economic prosperity. In regional news, according to the Empire Tribune, Ronnie, a 3-month-old mixed breed, starred in Puppy Bowl 8, which was pre-recorded and televised on Animal Planet for Super Bowl Sunday. The playful pup was a resident of Huts for Mutts Dog Rescue in Hamilton, but was adopted following the taping of the show. The rescue's director, Marion Stanford, said, "The show was filmed in October, and I sort of think us being able to say she was part of the show helped find Ronnie a new home." The point of the program is to bring awareness to animal rescues across the county. "We really appreciate Animal Planet's willingness to get the word," she said. "We have since had a few requests about adopting Ronnie. While she had found a permanent home, there are still many more animals that will benefit for the program by being adopted out of shelters and rescues." For more information on Huts for Mutts, visit hutsformutts.org. In Tarleton news, a university police officer will be teaching a class later this month to help women protect themselves from sexual assault. We have Christy Bent here in the studio today for a live interview about the class. Here's Andrea Berry for the story.
Thank you for joining us today, Christy. Let's start out by telling us a little bit about RAD, what it stands for, and what's the purpose of the class. RAD is an acronym for Rape, Aggression, Defense. It's a self-defense for just women only. And it's a free class we offer here at Tarleton. And it's not just for the students, but for the community as well.
Okay. I understand that the class is just open for women. Why isn't the class open for men?
Most men, although sexual assault does happen, it's not reported, but most men are able to hold their own. They lift up weights and work out when women are not. We're not designed. The good Lord didn't make us able to hold our own against men, so we're having to use other resources to teach them to be survivors.
How big of a problem is sexual assault on campus? Do you have a sense of like a percentage of how many happen per year?
We don't have a percentage. It's very low. I've been here 11 years, and there's been a few, and usually always alcohol is related. So we try to teach them different resources and things to do when they go to different parties and functions to keep them from being a victim of something of that.
Okay. And what dates are the sessions being held?
Our next class will be exactly 2 weeks before spring break. It's February the 27th and 28th, March 5th and 6th. It's 6 to 9, and it's actually one 12-hour class that's been broken down into 4 3-hour classes.
Okay.
You come at 6 o'clock the first night, meet in the Wisdom Gym, and we will take you to an undisclosed location for our classroom to teach it so that only the women know where it's at and what we're doing.
Okay, great. Thank you for your information. Megan, back to you.
In sports today, according to the Associated Press, hundreds of officers who lined the streets of Boston had little to do as fans quietly mourned their team's Super Bowl loss Sunday night. 14 people were arrested across the state at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, where police in riot gear dispersed the rambunctious crowd. "We're really sad right now," said Molly McKenzie of Boston, who was watching at a bar near Fenway Park as the Patriots lost the NFL championship to the Giants for the second time in 5 years. "It was a good game," she said, "really close." Boston officers focused on the areas near college campuses and sports bars, where previous celebrations had turned wild. Many were brought in from neighboring departments to help out. But after the Giants won 21-17, fans quietly filed back to their cars and public transit stations. Things were rowdier at the university, where police in riot gear and on horseback used smoke bombs to disperse 1,500 students who gathered in the main residential part of the campus after the game. There were some fistfights, but no one was hurt badly enough to be taken to a hospital, and no property damage was reported, said spokesman. For today's weather, it will be mostly sunny with a high of 59 and a low of 36 degrees. Today's still photos came from the Empire Tribune, A2ZBusinessNews.com, and ArtFixDaily.com. Today's broadcast was produced by Rafael Sanchez and Mike Daniels, and the broadcasting engineer for today was Matthew Mills. You can follow us on ustream.tv/user/Texan News Service. Don't forget to tell your friends about us and become a fan of Texan TV News on Facebook. I am Meagan Lofton. Tune in tomorrow for the latest news from the Tarleton State University campus.